Ethnography, or the writing of culture, traces its origins to ancient Greece. The word comes from the Greek root ethnos, meaning people, and grapho, meaning I write. Broadly speaking, ethnography is the systematic study of people and cultures. Ethnography has been most frequently associated with anthropologists who want to make sense of native cultures. Some ethnographies are problematic in that they tend to view natives as primitives and other, and the ethnographer, typically a white male, has a tone of arrogance that reveals their judgmental interpretations of indigenous cultures. Other ethnographers desire to change popular views of marginalized cultures at risk for being annihilated. Oftentimes, the purpose is hard to disentangle, and consequently, the ethics of conducting ethnographies has become a contested ground. In this video clip, extracted from the 1974 documentary A Man Called B, we see the ethnographer's desire to prove to his audience that the Misha Misha Mabuatedi tribe are not savage, yet his immediate depiction of them crying out in warrior mode and his close-up of himself dressed as a warrior highlights an aspect of their culture that reinforces the stereotypes he supposedly seeks to challenge.
The Misha Misha Mabuatedi were certain that they would kill me on the spot, or that lahalas, fabulous water serpents, would rise up out of the river and devour me. I survived both these hazards and returned to visit the Misha Misha Mabuatedi every year until 1972.
Most of what we learn is filtered through his point of view. He later states that the group only accepted him because he every year brings machetes, knives, and other weapons for them. Whether or not this is true, he is putting words in their mouths and speaking for them. Since this video was made in 1974, much more attention has been directed towards the ethics of how to conduct an ethnography. The focus of ethnographies today has also expanded far beyond a microscopic focus on indigenous cultures, rather evolving to include a much broader understanding of culture as any social group, ranging from a cultural group in a geographic location to members of a sports team or club, or people who go to the same stores, churches, etc. Social groups don't always have to be bound together physically either, particularly in our digital age. They can be members of an online dating site, Twitter users, etc. However, the ethics of conducting ethnographies revolves around the same premises, and by keeping in mind problematic traps we can fall into, it is easier to remind ourselves of what we should be doing. So how does one represent a culture in an ethical manner? Some key concerns are as follows. 1. How can the ethnographer represent the group in as objective a manner as possible? 2. How can the ethnographer protect the integrity and well-being of the participants? And 3. How can the ethnographer account for their own biases and positionality? In order to achieve objectivity, the ethnographer should gather as much information as possible through conducting something called fieldwork. This can be done through a few methods. When conducting formal interviews, you arrange them ahead of time, prepare questions, take notes, and possibly have a recording device. An informal interview is more casual and often semi-structured. It is often the result of being in an environment and simply striking up a conversation with someone. However, your goal in this conversation is to focus on listening and asking meaningful questions. The second method of gathering information is through overt and covert observation. In overt observation, you are more likely to be in a structured setting where you have gained permission to attend a gathering or event. Covert observation, which is more discreet, is the result of observing people in public settings, such as coffee shops, shopping malls, and more. In some cases, it requires playing a role to fit in, such as dressing up to attend a Comic-Con conference and pretending you're part of the group, when that's not something you would normally do. The last method of gathering information is to create archival data, including photographs and recordings of the people you are observing. For the next criteria, protecting the participant, there are a few things you can do. First, covert observation is only permissible in situations where people would expect to be observed by strangers. You shouldn't sneak your way into a private setting. Secondly, always ask permission before you name drop or use videos and photographs of someone. It is okay to take candid videos and recordings, but make sure you don't include them without checking. Lastly, offer confidentiality by using aliases or fake names. Lots of ethnographic studies let people choose names to protect their privacy. For the last criteria, acknowledging your own role, make sure you include critical reflection on this in your ethnography. Ask yourself, what is your familiarity with the group you're studying? Are you part of the group? Reflect on how your role speaks to your own cultural assumptions and preconceptions. What did you think about this group before conducting the study? How have your views changed? And remember, as much as you aim for objectivity, it is never 100% possible. According to Robin Patrick Clare, ethnography necessarily implicates the ethnographer in the creation of an expression of who and what a culture is all about. By keeping these criteria in mind, you can represent your group with as much objectivity, respect, and integrity as possible. Remember, they are humans too.